I'm here with 3 startups, with Astrocast, Procivis and Pickwings, and I would like to start with the topic of networking because we're meeting at the Swiss Economic Forum where it's all about getting connected. And I was wondering, do you have a strategy when you come to an event like this, to whom you want to talk to?
Yes, it's a bit overwhelming here because I didn't really expect so many people and so many also high-profile people at this event, so I didn't have a strategy at all. But it happens, it just happens when you walk around in the breaks to speak to people.
And when you meet, mingle, what are the questions, what are the things that investors or potential clients want to know from you?
The most of the questions are, when is your next round? We would like to be in.
I get a lot of questions around the fact that we are dealing with governments, and so governments, as a startup working with governments is obviously a big challenge because it doesn't naturally fit well together. But so trying to explain why we do what we do, and we are also a bit on the edge when it comes to the technology we apply, so it's always an interesting conversation around that topic as well when it comes to blockchain, for instance.
Fabien?
In our case, I'd say it's more like the discussion is usually like, are your satellites really in orbit? Is it working? And who has invested so far? And they want to. There is something a bit unreal about launching satellites. So this is how it starts usually, and then they are like amazed. This is cool. This is space project, really nice. And then we talk about investment, obviously.
Okay. So they want to know more than just about how healthy and how much money or potential money you could make. It's more about than just the funds with investors.
I think it's that depends the case. How tricky the case is to understand, and there are some cases with blockchain. They are maybe more question for investors, and especially in focus, how is the business model working, etc.
Do you get, I'm just wondering for other startups to understand a little bit, probably the business model is maybe not the first thing a founder might think of, is maybe the product. Do you get, consultants from outside or advice for business models, or how do you tackle these things?
Again, since we are in a very special situation with our business model, we do it as we go. And basically, we learn by speaking to our potential clients what they are ready or not ready to pay for a service like what we are building. And then, again, thank God we have this rather exclusive view on what we are doing when it comes to the technology, blockchain. And so we get a lot of incoming interest, and we basically develop this business model together with potential clients we are talking to.
So it's like trial and error and adapting.
Yes.
Okay. Then before we started this conversation, I was just asking, how if Switzerland is the right place for startups, and you said it's not the right place. Tell me why.
No, it's not. It's not
the ideal place.
The ideal place, but in Switzerland is still a little bit the mindset of this trial and error. Is not well recognized. So if you start a business and you tell the people that you have a startup company, they look a little bit confused and say, okay, and what will you do? And is this serious and whatever? And so there, Switzerland can learn a lot in the future, especially from the States. There are more than 10, 20 years, this mindset is there as well. The investors for risk capital. I think it's not only the question how the way works in Switzerland for startups. It's more the whole case. When you are in and you try to do a business in a new way.
So one thing is somehow the mindset that apparently is not so ready, but the other case also Switzerland is a very small market. So, or that's what many startups told me. Is going international important probably to you? Is that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, our business is obviously, we have thank God the first client was a Swiss state, Schaffhausen, so that was a very good proof point for us, but now we are immediately outside of Switzerland because it doesn't scale here. If you go for canton by canton, it takes a lot of time. And if you go to one country that is bigger than Switzerland and get it at once, that's obviously much more interesting as well.
Yeah, you have some different areas in Switzerland, you know, the German part, the French part, etc. So there are different mindsets, especially in digitization. So it's not all about Zurich or the main cities in Switzerland, and yeah, so on. I think it's in our case, it's more about the size of the market. That we are going in other countries or not. So on the end, our network. We have a network of almost 4,000 trucks and 400 transport company, and our market volume is strong enough in Switzerland with 10 billion. So first we have to do the homework in this market where we are.
But it's kind of crazy to think that a Swiss-based startup, it's kind of easier to go abroad to do business than here. Fabien, for you, it was also clear to go anyway. I mean, with satellites, you're actually going to space, not even international.
Well, I would say that our heritage is from Switzerland. The technology we use has been, designed, developed here. So initially, it made sense for us to start the company here. We struggled a little bit because nobody were really understanding what we were trying to achieve. But I would say now, with some, after a couple of years, I really think it was a smart move to remain in Switzerland. And and also have an office in US, so that we have both advantages, I would say. Our market is definitely not Switzerland itself; it's the remote areas of the planet. But Switzerland is now ready to invest in commercial space, and we feel it's really the right time to be here.
Do you feel that there's enough support for startups in Switzerland to grow your business? And if not, what is still lacking besides, trial and error?
I mean, again, we in our case are lucky because obviously we have the support from the Swiss president when it comes to the topic of blockchain. He also talked about it yesterday here.
Yeah, probably then Switzerland is the best place to be.
That's the best place to be when it comes to this particular topic. But in generally, it's still a tough place. And I would also agree it's a question of the money. When we raise money, or when you just raise money, we went ultimately to the US as well. And the West Coast is obviously where the VCs sit that also understand a little bit more the risks involved in a business like ours. Switzerland is still a tough place for raising money, and
why is that? I mean, there's so much capital here.
Yeah, but there's not enough experience with early stage startup investments, and it's developing, but it's going very slow, I'd say.
How can we accelerate that?
Well, there's obviously some initiatives like the Entrepreneur Fund, it's called, I guess, from the national consortium of banks and the Swiss Ministry for Economics. I'm not sure where that stands, but obviously some initiatives are happening, but they're just all taking time. And if you need the money now, then it's not so easy to find it here.
Where are you standing now in your business? What is like kind of the next challenge that you have to overcome, where you would wish that there was a better framework? Or
I think there is only one or two words to raise up a good team of employees. If you start, we started with 3 founders, and now we are 13 people, and to raise a culture and the mindset in a startup, I think that's a challenge on the end, and to find the right people.
They're also used to always a changing environment. At one point it's like that, and
yeah.
There's not a lot of probably routine.
No, definitely not. From our focus, we change almost every 6 months the office. That's a cultural thing that we do in the city. Okay. So,
but that's your strategy? Is that?
Yeah, we live this, and we go. We often work in a pop-up office or something. So yeah, to have this startup feeling, and to not lose this flexibility that we need in our business case.
Well, in our case, it's again the same topic. It's the fact that we are in government as clients. That's very easy, very hard sell as well, especially to investors. And the lead times it takes to get a government client actually live is obviously the reason for that. And so we just have to prove ourselves more now. We have quite a good pipeline of projects all over the world, so we are trying to materialize them and make them real. And once we have done that, I think then it's a good future for us.
Just one thing, we realized that Switzerland is really one of the best places to be to attract the right talent. We need some very specific expertise that we don't find in Switzerland, sometimes not even in Europe. And you know, having the headquarters in Switzerland and in a nice place like where we are, it really helps us a lot also to attract the right people.